Well, thank you for introducing me. I think initially when Kim called and asked me to do a talk, she asked me to talk about growth in a poly-crisis situation and a growth of Coffee Collective in the recent years. I have to admit I joined Coffee Collective rather well. It's not so long time ago, and I'm still awed by this company and the enormous positive energy that's in the company, working with coffee and sustainability at the same time. So I have to excuse myself on beforehand if I talk in superlatives about Coffee Collective. It's because I'm so impressed myself. So bear over with me. Before I start, I think you introduced me quite well, I think, but I would say a little bit about myself still. Because you might ask, what is a grey-haired, middle-aged Dutch guy doing, talking about Coffee Collective with such a young audience here? And yeah, well, my interest from coffee started actually. I started after I studied business administration or economics in Holland at the University of Groningen. I moved to Central America, lived there for 10 years in different countries, starting in Haiti, then to El Salvador, and later on to Costa Rica. And if you live there, I mean, you can't avoid being immersed in coffee. It's so much embedded in the culture, especially in El Salvador and Costa Rica. It's their major product, their way of living. So if you want it or not, you get interested in coffee, and I did very much so. And then fast forward like to the year 2000, I moved to Denmark and became the CEO of a rather large coffee company called Merrild Kaffe, one of the big coffee companies in Denmark, actually in all of Scandinavia. And of course, you learn a lot. Another side of coffee business at that company. I think in this audience here, I was one of the bad guys by then. So I just can try to improve on that. But the interest in coffee never disappeared. Actually, it was enhanced, also working for this big company. So the reason I'm here talking about Coffee Collective is because I'm the CEO of Coffee Collective right now. And how I became the CEO of Coffee Collective, I'll leave that to the last part of my presentation, so be with me. There's an agenda, of course. Oh, I won't spend too much time on going through the agenda because I just go through it. First of all, a mission. Most companies that I know, they start with a business idea and then develop from there, and they grow their business. If they're doing fine, they grow their business and hire people and get bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden, after some years, they say, hey, we need a mission. So they hire consultants and define their mission and their values and their purpose and what have you. And then you find all the posters in the office building what it is. So everyone at the company knows what it is. At Coffee Collective, I think it was quite the other way around. It started with passion for coffee and a mission, actually. And well, I've visualized this mission. Out of that mission, that grew a company. And now the company is almost 16 years old, so somehow it has worked. The mission is big. I love this mission. We dream of revolutionizing the coffee world and fighting inequality in the value chain. It's a great mission, and on a daily basis, it means a lot of daily decisions, and sometimes very easy, adhering to your mission, and sometimes rather conflictful, where you have to think, do we do the right thing, especially on the long term? Do we do the right thing, yes or no? Now I have to do this right. There's also a lot of, there's a purpose. I think I don't want to get into that too much, and core values. And most of those core values I walked through the presentation, but the first one here, inclusiveness, I just want to dwell a little bit on it. Inclusiveness, what does it mean for us? If we take an example for wine, for example, sometimes we think coffee should be a little bit appreciated like wine, where you have different grapes and different regions and different chateaus and what have you, and a lot of craftsmanship in making wine. And people appreciate the differences of taste, of regions and everything, and are willing to pay for that. So the price range in wines is huge. So better quality gets better paid. And sometimes I think if coffee could have the same background or impact, so that real good quality is accepted to be paid for far more, and good craftsmanship. But wine tends to be, if you look at the really expensive wines or the good wines, then it becomes rather exclusive. Not everyone can afford those expensive wines. They trade at thousands of dollars per bottle at sometimes. We think enjoying coffee and the differences in taste and exploring this wonderful world of coffee is far more something you want to share. So inclusive. We never want to be, how should I say it, snobby about coffee. It is something we all want to enjoy, and we love sharing those experiences about coffee. If I look at Coffee Collective today, just the numbers at a glance, we're about 130 people at Coffee Collective. We have 8 bars, 7 of them in Copenhagen, and now one experimental, big step for us. We opened a bar in the beginning of this year in Aarhus, and actually it's working fine. So we made one step out of our comfort zone, I think, and maybe that's an inspiration to try more steps like that in the future. We have a roasting facility at Godthåbsvej, and I guess some of you know this roasting facility and the bar we have there. And we have a collective bakery where we bake pastry and bread and bakery stuff for our shops, but also have our own retail outlet there. And then we have wholesale. We have a wholesale department moving quite a lot of volume over the world. I think when I looked, we're selling coffee to professional partners like in 40 countries around the world. I think that's amazing that people know Little Coffee Collective and want to order a coffee. We also have a web shop, also some 40 countries we sell to, but it's to private people. So this is, to add some numbers, we do a turnover this year, I guess, of 10 million euros, 75, 80 million kroners. So we're a mid-sized company, actually. Yes. This triangle is trying to explain. This is very central in our way of thinking. We talk about the triangle a lot at Coffee Collective. Also in our logo there's a lot of triangles. But it's symbolizing the long chain of, the value chain of coffee, starting at the farmer, looking at soil, looking at plants, looking at growing conditions, then the picking and selecting. Do I do it with a machine or by hand, and do I pick only the red berries? There's a lot of knowledge to it, and there's a lot of craftsmanship to it as well. Then the treatment from berry to green bean, the harvesting process, the drying, then all the way to roasting and brewing at the bars. But that circle, it's a value chain, but it's also a circle, because we need to give feedback on all those aspects back into the value chain. So it's really not a matter of us telling what they should do, but with good respect for each part of this value chain, listening. What do you know better than we do? What can you explain us about this? How can we improve the coffee quality throughout the chain? So it's really a perpetual circle. And so we see our farmers every year. We visit them. And some of them, we're so lucky they come here also to see our side of the business and to understand what they can do at their end to improve the quality of the cup in the end. Okay, so about growth. Growth throughout 16 years. I think I guess we couldn't be proud of showing charts like this. I have, let's say, the money side on the left hand axis and the volume side on the right hand axis. And we have an average growth of 15 to 20% per year. I think that's amazing. Especially thinking, I studied economics and that was in the 80s, 1980s, so it's a long time ago. But the business models we were looking at that time did not explain anything about this kind of company where one of our purposes is to pay more for our coffee, pay more for the product we use in our production, if you want. That's not a business model I was taught at the university, but obviously it works. It does work. So the humble bee can fly. And even though I think we can be proud of those numbers, the other side of the story is if you look at, we'll probably be hitting like 135 tons, 135,000 of kilos at the end of this year. Coffee purchased. That sounds like quite a lot. That's a lot of containers at least. But still it's just a mere drop in the ocean compared to, let's say, the coffee produced. And if we have this mission to disrupt the coffee world and improving the balance, maybe it's just nothing, nada in comparison to what we should. And this is a dilemma I think I would like to share with you already here. We grow, we are our own company. We grow by the means we proceed from doing our business. You can see the orange one is our bottom line. It varies a lot. There's some reasons for it. There's also some COVID in there. But mainly we accumulate some money and then we open a new bar. So we take this step by step by step. And then we grow, make some money, and we can open a new bar. And that's a beautiful way of growing. And we take careful steps, not jeopardizing what we have built up, because that's important to us, that's important for our employees and for suppliers. But it's a slow way of growth. So one of the dilemmas I'm thinking of sometimes is, should we be more loyal to our mission and say, okay, let's get some external investors in. Let's get a lot of money in and boost this company and make it big. It's a thought. I wanted to share it with you, and I would love to have some comments on it. Maybe not now, but later on. Also now is fine. But sharing this dilemma with you. I know the answer we are giving, but I'd like to hear from you later on. What should we do? What's the right thing to do? Then quality versus growth. I've heard the discussion, okay, if you're not controlling every aspect, if you're not in one location, you cannot maintain the same level of quality. And we have, as you saw, 8 bars and maybe a 9th on the way. And we believe we can control quality. We can really make a quality program so that the experience in the cup, every bar where you are, is maybe not 100% the same, but it's good quality. I explain later on why it's maybe not the same. But because we have baristas that are proud of their job, they develop their own skills and make the perfect cup with their mind. We have some standards, but there's also some experimenting in it. First of all, we have this holistic approach. meaning that we look at every detail, every little element of the value chain all the time. We're not diving into the rabbit hole to just highlight one of the aspects of quality. No, we look at everything. Berries, roasting, serving, the experience in the bar, the aesthetics of it. Every part is part of quality. Then, and I love to hear Jack talk about this training program. We have an internal program, so I raised two hands at that question. Every new employee, also in accounting, goes through what we call initial barista training. It's a couple of days program where you learn about coffee and, well, you're able to make your own espresso. I'm very proud of it. But that's every employee. At the bars or baristas, they go through a very extensive training. I don't even know how long it takes, probably weeks. More importantly, I think we have this every second week we have on the management level, a meeting on quality. All aspects of quality about coffee and serving coffee in bars. It's so highly embedded in the company that quality should be the differentiating factor for us. And you create a kind of culture where people love to share new elements of coffee, new ideas, new things, and trying it out. It's a culture also where there's not the boss controlling the employee. No, an employee is also being a proper barista and developing his own skills and style, and giving horizontal training and talking about these experiences, sharing it even with our clients. And as said, we never should forget that we're in the service or a hospitality industry. Quality is not just a matter of serving the perfect cup. It's also the way you serve it and understand your client and be friendly and make a good experience out of coffee and sharing your enthusiasm about it. So I think we can combine growth, different locations, and quality without too big a problem. Then there's also something about quality and direct trade, and I was very happy to see in Jack's presentation one slide of our program of the quality bonus. I think what we think is the coffee market, the international coffee market, is a broken system. It doesn't work. Coffee is produced in mostly very poor areas of the world and then consumed in the richest areas of the world. And definitely the way the value chain is distributed right now, we enjoy great coffee, but the farmer is not paid evenly enough to just have a normal life. So by this program with a quality bonus, we think we work as on a type of win-win system where the farmer gets paid on quality, and the better the quality, the more he gets paid. And these are just two examples of two different coffees we buy, Takeshi, Gasa, and the Karimikui. And those quality bonuses are related to the world coffee market price at that time we buy it. So it's a very objective number. You can read so much more of this in our transparency report. You find it on our website. I'll share some leaflets later on, but I think this is really important to know, that you make a difference by buying coffee at the Coffee Collective. And then again, we visit our farmers every year, no exception, every year, and have a dialogue on quality, feedback, whatever have you. It's a due diligence, it's quality management, but it's also getting information from them, all within their own context of possibilities and financing. Another picture, and I borrowed this picture, I was going to say happily from SCA. I thought, well, normally you have to use your own material, but this picture on the right-hand side was made by SCA, and I thought it would be okay to use it here. Again, coffee is grown in the poorest areas, and there's a huge inequality. And poverty is actually the biggest driver for deforestation around the world. And what happens, what I know, in those countries where you produce coffee, if you can't make a living of it, then change to some other crop, cocoa maybe, or whatever you have, just to provide food for your family. So if the market is not going to change, then we risk that good coffee disappears. This is like the Arabica percentage of all coffee. And that's really worrying us a lot. It's not only because if we can't get good coffee, we have no business. It's also a worry about this beautiful product. Where is it going? Is it just disappearing because we're not prepared to pay for the coffee we get, for the quality we get? I think there's a lot to be done there. Then growth and ethics. I think, again, looking at Jack's presentation, there's a lot about people and how you treat people and how you are as a workplace. I think there's no one at Coffee Collective that is there just to make money. I think the people I meet at Coffee Collective are there because they want to be there and they really like to be there. And there are some people here from Coffee Collective, so raise your hands if I'm not right. But I'm quite sure it's like that. We are spending a lot of time of training and understanding and also talking about our values. So everyone knows what our values are really and why it is. And I think that makes it easier for us to hire people because we experience that the people who work for Coffee Collective, they like to work for a purpose and not just for money. We are quite transparent, we think ourselves. We share our numbers with our staff, with our people. We have breakfast meetings where we share the results of the company with no filters. And we do that in good times and celebrate, but we also do it in bad times because we need to then move together in the bus, as they say in Denmark, and make it work anyway. And it works very well. There's no one in doubt about our sustainability efforts or goals or what we want to achieve. And there's one example I want to mention. A couple of years ago, we bought a piece of land near Slagelse. It's 22 hectares. And now this November, we're going to plant trees on that land in order to create a forest. In the end, of course. This is actually something we do to offset the carbon footprint of our suppliers. I don't know if you were here when with Jack's presentation, but you could see there's a lot of carbon footprint on the first part, the producing of coffee and the treatment of that. And we can then tell them, no, you have to be compliant and this and that, but we think our responsibility goes a lot further than that. We have the means and the possibilities to offset some of their carbon footprint. We can take care of our own carbon footprint here in Denmark, but it's sometimes much more difficult in the producing countries. So we do this as a means to offset carbon footprint from production. All our employees are invited to join in tree planting days. We do that over 2 days, and we haven't started the inscription yet, but I think we need big buses to drive back and forth through Slagelse to have people helping. It's going to be a wonderful event. Another thing I would like to just mention as an example, Corona, the pandemic. I think it was the 11th of March in 2020, where all of Denmark was closed down. We didn't see it coming, we didn't notice, it just happened. So we had a lot of crisis management meetings in our management team and talked about what should we do. And the first thing we said, let's wait a little bit and see what's happening. Let's see what the government is doing. Is there any kind of program being started? Because this really affects our business. And just 2 weeks later, the programs came, and we saw that some we could apply for to have some financing, and then we said, okay, we have saved up some money throughout the year, and that money might help us through this period. And we set the goal: we are not gonna let people go because of Corona. There might be other reasons, but not because of Corona. So we forward invested in some bars, so we had more places to work, and distributed the people we had between those bars because there was less work. We had a web shop that really had a boost, and we had our to-go solutions at the bars. And in that way, we managed to go through. And even though we could see our cash diminishing through the period, we said, okay, we can make this, we can make this, we can make this. And after 4 months, we didn't even need the 8 programs anymore. So I think this is one of the really examples where we made a choice to do this in spite of risking a little bit of our business. And I'm very happy we did, because when it opened up again, we had no problem. We had the people, and we could just start and boosting and building some profit up again and reserves again. So I think that's a typical thing for Coffee Collective. Again, what's the farmer paid? And this is just another way of explaining this quality bonus thing. At the end of last year, we sent 7 million kroners, 1 million euros, back to the origin countries, and that's the yellow column, and then the gray line is more or less the indication of what we per kilo send back to origin every year, and it's fluctuating, but it's actually it's increasing every year so far. Then I think at the outset I promised to explain why I am here, what I'm doing here as CEO for this company. For some 2 years ago, we, with the supervisory board and the management at that time, we sat down and made a strategic plan, reaching out for 5 years. I was the chairman of the supervisory board at that time, and we made this plan. And there were many details in that plan, but one of them was also looking at, let's say, management in the company, realizing that the mission we had maybe was better reached by changing some of the positions to people that had other skills than the founders actually had. So it was a realization of, okay, the mission is actually more important than the person. And if you really stick to that mission, you take the consequence, and that we did at Coffee Collective. So I can say now, these 3 guys, they're still at the company. Some of them are here, and I think they look happy on this picture, and that's what I actually like to see, because they're all in different roles today in the company, doing what they like best, what they're best fitted for, and what they will dream of, making a difference for Coffee Collective and for disrupting this coffee world, each in their own role. Peter is head of sourcing. He does what he really like the best, going out to the origin countries, discussing, debating quality, sourcing coffee for us. Casper, he's an expert in roasting, so he's being in the roastery every day and preserving the quality of roasting. It's such an important part of our product. And then Klaus, he's here. Klaus is actually in charge of quality at the bars, and that's an everyday job, where he's visiting all the bars, being there, checking up, helping, informing, and improving, and learning every day as well. So I think that is a typical Coffee Collective story. The mission is more important than the person, so let's stick to the best we can do, and be happy with it as well. I think that almost concludes my my presentation. So I would like to say thank you, and if I can be honest, what I really would like is that we don't have you giving all the questions, but if you would like to comment on some of our dilemmas, should we have foreign investors in order to grow quicker? Yes or no? We know the answer, we think, but I'd like to hear. And another one is, should we maybe, while we think we are very good at buying coffee and having this dialogue, should we open up to buy green coffee and supply other roasters in Denmark or throughout Europe with that, and then expanding our volume? Is that a choice we should make in relation to our mission, or are we merely giving away some of our really good features to some maybe competitors? If you would like to comment on that, on anything else, I would be happy. Thank you.